This is higher homework. It's the Unit 2 extension work that we're doing, and we're going to be focusing on question 11. There's 4 questions within question 11, A, B, C and D, but what we're going to do is we're going to do them one at a time. When you get to the next video, what you could do is you could start it up and see if you could solve the question and see if your solution matches up with mine. Let's do the first question here, and what this one here is we're going to solve the equation for the range at 0 to 360 degrees for the values of x that we're looking for. We won't use a calculator for part A, but we will for B, C and D. Okay, so if I look at this question here, sine 2x plus cosine x equals 0. Now I could think about that as being quite a complicated curve if I drew that out. So the curve I've drawn is y is equal to sine 2x plus cos x, and it's quite a complicated curve to try and work out the solution for it. And the solution that I'm talking about is the roots, where the roots would be on this curve. But what we're going to do as we work through the question, just algebraically, we're going to try and break it down into a simpler form that we know. We're going to break it down into sine and cosine curves, and from there we'll be able to solve the problem that we've got in front of us. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, with the values that appear in here, like the sine 2x, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using the formula list that we have to substitute into here to try to make sure that I use the correct values or formulas that I'm going to use to try and solve this equation. Now, whenever I see something like I have to solve sine 2x plus cos x, the cos x is quite an important one for us, depending on which formula I have at the front there. Okay, but for sine 2x, the only expansion that I have for that would be 2 sine x cos x, and I'm just going to go ahead and replace that first thing off. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is replace this with 2 sine x cos x. I've got this plus cosine x here, and that all equals 0. This type of question here requires me to take out a common factor between the terms that I have, the first term and the second term. And what I'll do is I'll take out the cosine x as a common factor. That leaves me with 2 sine x, and I've got a plus 1 equals 0. So that 1 would be the cosine x times 1 gives me the cosine x there. The cosine x times 2 sine x gives me 2 sine x cos x. So that works out right from there. From here I can see that I've got 2 solutions that are coming out of here, or 2 equations. So I've got cosine x equals 0, and I've also got 2 sine x plus 1 equals 0. And from this side here, what I'd see is that sine x is going to be equal to, take the 1 over the other side, becomes a minus 1, that will all be over 2. So that's going to be sine x equals minus a half. Right, whenever I've got cosine x or sine x is equal to 0, what I'm going to think about is I'm going to think about the cosine curve. And the cosine curve just starts like that, and you should be aware of the cosine curve. Goes up to 1, down to minus 1, 0 in the middle there. This will be 180 degrees. This will be 360 where it finishes. And what I'm looking at is the points where it's equal to 0. So the points where it's equal to 0 is 1 point there and 1 point there. So straight away what I can say is that x is equal to 90 degrees and x is going to be equal to 270 degrees. So from my knowledge of the cosine graph. Right, over on to the next part here, I've got sine x is equal to minus a half. And whenever it's a fraction, something like that, what I'd be looking at is the CAS table. So all sine, tan and cos. And remember, I'm interested in that value there. Is that in the minus? Of course it is. So that there will tell me whereabouts the angles are going to lie for my solutions for this part here. So sine x is usually positive there and there, it's negative there and there. So that's where my solutions are going to lie. Always going to work out the acute angle for this type of thing. So the acute angle is the first thing that I'll work out. And what we'll do is we'll just go for x is equal to the inverse sine of a half. Okay, and I don't have the negative in there because I'm just trying to find out the angle that lies in that quadrant there. And from my table of exact values, I should be able to work out that that's going to be 30 degrees. That's not going to be a solution, but what I'll do is I'll use that to work out my others. Solutions are going to lie in quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. So quadrant 3 solution is going to be 180 plus the angle that I've just worked out there. And my quadrant 4 solution is going to be 360 minus the angle that we've worked out there, so that's minus 30. So for here I've got 330 degrees, and in here I've got 210 degrees. And these ones there are my solutions. Right, so what I'll do then is I'll just clarify it, because I've got quite a lot of working around about the place, so what I'll do is I'll just write down what my solutions are. So my solutions, x is going to be equal to, let's just put them in order, so there's 90 degrees up at the top there. I've then got 210 degrees, then got 270 degrees, I've then got 330 degrees. So I've got 4 solutions, this one here not being one of the solutions that I have. So if I just look back at the graph there and see what values that I've worked out. So by simplifying it and breaking this equation down into something that we know, something simpler, we've worked out what that point is there, the 210, the 270 and the 330. And that's what got the answers that I was looking for from that more complex graph. Let's see how we'll get some marks for this question here. What we'll go for is, the first thing I'm going to give is a mark for substituting in the correct equation that's there. So that's the first mark. The next one I'll get is for taking out the common factor and getting this line here, so that's 2. The next mark I'm going to give will be for this part here and also this part here. So getting cosine x is equal to the 0 and the sine x is equal to minus a half. From there I'll go for getting these answers correct here, and then the final mark I'm going to give is going to be for stating what your solutions actually are. Okay, so what I'd expect is you either have these two here and all the solutions, or you have these two here and you state the solutions from that side there. So for this question here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marks. So this question here, give out of 5. What we'll be doing is we're going on to B, C and D in the next couple of videos. So what you can do is you can freeze them at the start and try them yourself and watch your solutions. Good luck.